Okay, so today we'll use a wall space. So you'll want to just have a spot you can use. You don't need a lot of space, but you will need to extend an arm behind you against the wall. And then we're going to start in a chest opener. And so to do that, you could use 2 yoga blocks, or you could use blankets, a combination of blankets and pillows, or blankets and blocks, whatever you've got. And I'll just show what that setup could look like in a few different ways. If you already know how to do it, you can go ahead and get into it. I'm going to show it with 2 blocks, a low block, and then I'm going to use a medium height block for my head. Now, you could use any variation. It could be high, medium, and then high, or anything else that feels better. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put, with my knees bent, I'm going to work my way down just by coming back on my forearms. And the block that's on the lower height will go beneath my upper back, not way up by my neck. Okay, a lot of people put it too close to their neck. It's really across where your shoulder blades and upper back are. And then the other block is supporting my head. Some people like it up high. It feels better to them. Okay, so you can see what works better for you. Okay, so getting yourself settled. If you do not have 2 blocks, you can use a combination of other things. Even a blanket would work. I'm just gonna fold or roll. I'm rolling this one up, and I'm gonna use that one behind my upper back, and then something else below my head. And you'll see, regardless of what I'm using, what's happening is my chest is lifted up and my shoulders are falling back. So finding what will work best for you and getting into it. You want your neck to be able to be at ease. I think I like the blocks better for me today. All right. And hi, Rhonda. Okay, so once you get into it, you can decide if you want your knees bent or straight. Arms relaxed, again, wanting your neck to be at ease. And you want to feel a gentle opening across the front of your chest and shoulders, arms supported by the floor. And then as you breathe in, noticing the widening of your rib cage. And then as you breathe out, is lengthening your exhale. You could even blow out through pursed lips, like you're blowing out through a straw slowly. And can you allow your body to really fall onto the floor, or I should say release onto the floor? As though you're draping over your props with your upper back, like almost like water running through a creek or something, going over the rocks, right? Just kind of letting go and softening rather than trying to hold anything up. And then let's start to breathe a little rhythmically here. So you could try to inhale for a count of 4 or 5. And then exhale maybe for 6 or 7 or even 8. So putting your focus on your breath here. And I'll demonstrate how I'm counting in my head. I'm counting, breathing in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And just repeating that. It doesn't have to be that speed, but just counting for yourself. Okay, now let's bend the knees. So if you have your legs straight, bending them, and you can keep your blocks as they are, or whatever you're using. And I'm just going to spread my arms out if possible, out to the sides. And then I might try to make an angel arm, like coming up, out to the sides, and then overhead. You can also clasp the wrists or the elbows on opposite sides and let your forearms or wrists rest on your forehead, or they could come overhead. Take a couple of breaths there. Good, and then bringing the arms down for a moment. I'm now going to take my hands behind my head, still with my knees bent. If you need to adjust your block, I'm going to adjust mine. It could also, again, be the rolled up blanket. You'll want your blanket, if you're using one, or your towel, to be quite firm for this part, rolled up tight. So you might need to make that happen if you've got a real flimsy one folded flat to the ground, okay? Because you won't get much out of that. And now I'm going to clasp my hands behind my head and move the other prop behind my head away. You can keep it there if it feels safer to you. Then inhale, I'm going to lean back and let my elbows spread out to the amount that feels good in my body. And as I exhale, I'll begin the exhale and then start to move my sternum down so that I sit up just a little bit so I can look between my legs, elbows curl around ears, and repeat. And you might find you want to move that block to a different spot on your upper back. You can feel free to do that. Notice how when you breathe out and the sternum moves down, you might also feel your core engage, your abdominal muscles engage. And when you lean back, the ribs are opening up. And as you come up, the ribs come a little closer together in the front. And now the next time that I come up, I'm going to put my hands down and my arms down to remove the block from behind my back. And then I'm going to come back down onto my back. Knees bent, arms wherever they feel best, just noticing how you feel here. Breathing in and breathing out. Good, and again, breathing in and out. And as you breathe in, let's rock the pelvis forward so you have a curve between your low back and the floor, or space, I mean. And then as you exhale, pressing low back down to the floor. So you're doing some pelvic rocks. Repeating that. And as you do it, you might notice that your head might nod. Not making it nod, it just happens with the rocking of the pelvis. Good. And now I'm going to roll over onto one side. And I'm going to prop my head. You can if you want to. You don't have to. I'm going to prop mine beneath my ear. Doesn't matter which side you pick. And then I'm going to put my top knee on the floor. It could also be on a block or a pillow. And my bottom leg is stretching out. Okay. Now the arms are going to stack out in front of my shoulder, the palms touching. Okay, and as I inhale, I'm going to slide the top hand forward so it might reach the floor ahead of the bottom hand. And then as I exhale, I'm going to open this arm like a book. And as I open the arm like a book over to the opposite side, my head also rolls. And then I'm going to inhale, close the book and slide. Exhale, open back up. Again. Now keep going, but start to notice if when you open your book, that knee might be coming off of the floor. This time, let's only open the book as far as we can while keeping the knee down. In fact, you can even take your bottom hand and put it on the knee to keep it on the floor. And then if you want to stay with your book open for a couple of breaths in this knee down twist, go for it. Notice where your head wants to look. And notice where you might feel any resistance to the opening of the book. You know, whether it's in your spine, your belly, your upper back, or your shoulder and arm. If you need to make adjustments, you can. Okay, one more breath. And then closing your book. And you can come onto your back with your knees bent. Take a breath or two, noticing the two sides of your body. And then we'll switch over to the other side. I'm just going to turn around here so you can see me. And you can use head and neck support. And also that top knee could be on a prop if it doesn't feel good reaching to the floor. And let's start with the bottom arm outstretched, and we'll change it to the knee later. Okay, top arm stacks on top. Then inhale, let's slide the top arm forward so the hands go forward on the floor. Exhale, open the arm. And notice how this side feels repeating that. Inhale, close. Exhale, open. Okay, now this time we'll put the bottom hand to hold the knee. So when you open, you're becoming more aware of if the knee is coming off the floor. See if you can keep that knee down just to isolate here. Noticing how this side might feel different. And if you want to stay open, you could in your knee down twist. Notice where your head wants to look. Keep breathing. Using your breath to open up through the ribs and the upper back, and noticing where you have restriction on this side, if anywhere. Where do you feel a stretch? Where do you feel a holding? Good, and then as you're ready, we'll close the book. And then come onto your back with your knees bent. And just do a couple of pelvic rocks here. Good. And then as you exhale, let's bring the right knee in. Give it a squeeze. You can hold behind that knee. If you could reach, you could also use a strap behind the leg. As you inhale, extend the leg up toward the ceiling, and exhale, bend again. Repeat. Good. Now, the next time you go up, you could leave it there. Now, from here, if it's hard to hold behind the leg, if you're getting tight in the shoulders or if your leg is really far away, I recommend grabbing a strap or anything with some length to hold behind the leg like this, okay? So you can relax your shoulders. Okay, now from here, could you rock your pelvis? So just like we did with both of our feet on the floor. So I'm going to inhale, rock my pelvis forward. I get a bigger low back curve. And then exhale, press my low back down. And repeat. Okay, now let's leave it rocked forward so you have a low back curve, a space between your low back and the floor. See if you can leave it there. You might need more of a strap, because your leg might be further away. Okay, so just your sacrum is on the floor, your hips and pelvis, but the low back is curved away. And you're breathing. Relax through your neck and shoulders, and as you inhale, can you relax your belly as well? One more breath. Good. Now let's release the leg and straighten out both legs on the floor, and notice the difference in sensation in the two sides. Following your breath in and out. All right, and now let's bend both knees again. And as you exhale, let's bring the left knee in, give it a squeeze. Then holding behind the leg with your hands or a strap. Let's inhale, stretch the leg up towards straight, and exhale, bend. And we'll do this, 5 or 6 times. And then let's keep the leg up there. And you can use your strap if you want. And let's start to do those pelvic rocks. Okay, so we'll inhale, space between low back and floor as pelvic rocks forward. Exhale, pressing it down. Repeat. Just notice how your leg moves with this too. It's attached, of course, to the pelvis. Good. And now we're going to keep it with the space between the low back and the floor. So keep the pelvis rocked forward and breathe. Try to get your legs straight if you can, totally straight. All right, and then let's slowly release. You can set your strap off to the side if you're using one, straightening out your legs. Notice the sensations now. Okay, now let's drop both knees into your belly. I'm going to put one hand on each knee. I'm going to inhale, same thing. I'm going to rock my pelvis forward. So I've got a low back curve. And I'm going to exhale, press my low back down. And you might draw the knees in closer. Repeat. So the knees might come away as the pelvis rocks forward, the pubic bone rocks forward. And then exhaling, knees might come closer as low back presses down. Just a couple more. You could, of course, hold behind the knees or on top. Now, your choice, you can put your feet on the floor, roll to your side and press up, or you can hold behind your legs and rock yourself up. We're going to come onto a tabletop position. You're welcome to pad your knees. And let's move through some cats and cows. So I'm going to inhale, tail up, chest toward the floor, belly toward the floor. Exhale and round, pressing the floor away. Repeat. You can allow your neck to come into it if it feels good to you. Okay, now the next time you pass through neutral, let's stay there. And we're going to keep the hips over the knees. So they're not going to go any closer to the heels. We're just going to walk the arms forward into puppy dog pose, letting your head come down between the arms if it will. Now, if you have a shoulder injury and this hurts when you do this, feel free to bend the elbows and prop the head. Otherwise, as you inhale, can you feel the rib cage expand? And long exhale. And then slowly bring the hands back by your head. Let's lift the head off the floor, tuck the toes, start walking your hands back. You might pause in a kind of short down dog if you want. Bend the knees as much as you want to as you start to come up to standing. All right, standing in Tadasana, feeling your feet on the floor. You can wiggle your toes a little bit. Feel the balls and heels of your feet on the floor. Let's inhale, roll the shoulders up, and exhale, squeeze those shoulder blades together as you take them down your back, and repeat. Good, one more time. Good, and then just notice how you're standing with your pelvis as well, right? You can take your hands on your hips. You might even do a few pelvic rocks. I can have to soften or bend my knees a little bit to do that. Right. And now finding neutral, so not overly tucked, not overly arched with your ribs forward, but letting your behind be behind you rather than tucked under. All right, now let's work with the arms. We're going to inhale, arms forward and up, as high as you can go with the arms straight, and then exhale, let's take the arms out to the sides. You might blow out through pursed lips or your nose. I'm even taking my arms a little bit behind me as I come down. And we'll do 2 more of those, okay? Following your own breath, feeling your feet on the floor as you move. Imagine you're trying to draw the biggest half circle on each side of your body as you can. Getting as high as you can. Let's do 1 more. Good. All right, and this time when you come down, let's take your hands towards your shoulders. And if you can't reach, some people, it doesn't work just anatomically, so it's okay if they don't touch, okay? And we're just gonna draw big circles with your elbows. So let's go back first. So we'll inhale as you go back, just let your breath flow. Again, we're trying to make the biggest circles we can make here. If you had like a pen on the end of each elbow, you're trying to draw a circle on either side of you, the biggest circle as you can. And then next time you come around, let's reverse and go forward and up. And if you want to, you can even let your spine round and arch as you do this. You know, as you go forward, you might round the spine. As you go back, you could lift and arch. And 1 more. Good, and then just bring in the arms down and shake them out a little bit. All right, now let's work on feeling your ribs right here. So if it's okay in your shoulders to do so, you can take your hands to the sides of your ribs. Okay, so instead of your waist, not your waist, but up here higher onto the bones of your ribs. Okay, so above your waist. And then from here, I'm gonna try to shift the ribs side to side if you can, okay? You know, without moving the whole body or leaning. Just side to side to side to side. Good, and then come back to center. Release the arms. Yeah, let's inhale, roll the shoulders up, and exhale, take them down your back. All right, let's grab our strap. We're gonna use it earlier than I thought. So anything that you have, so you could even use a towel for this or sweater if you don't have any kind of, or scarf, whatever you got, okay? So depending on the length of it, like for me, I'm gonna need to double this one up, okay? And I'm gonna take this behind my back, and so I'm holding it with my palms facing behind me. I'm just gonna clasp it. Now I'm going to hold it as closely together as I can with my shoulders being able to roll back. You see that? So you don't wanna end up like crunched up like this, right? So I'm upright, trying to roll my shoulders back. And I'm not gonna, even though I could do that and clasp, I'm still gonna have some distance in the strap because I wanna get the sensation of pulling my strap apart. Okay, so if you have a stretchy strap, you might need to adjust. So here I go. I've got this in my hands. I'm going to pull the strap apart and at the same time feel as though, hopefully, that I'm stretching the front of my shoulders and my chest. And make sure your neck feels okay. So you're not up here by your ears with your shoulders. They're just relaxed down. Relax your jaw. Let's take a couple more breaths there. Keep pulling your strap apart. Good. Good. And release. Okay, you can set your strap down. Let's get our chair in front of us so that the seat is facing you. I'm going to stand in front of it for a sun salutation variation. Okay. So from here, you're going to inhale and reach the arms up. Exhale, hinging at the hips, bending knees whenever needed, and fold. And let's inhale, extend the spine forward, getting long. And then exhale, let's step the feet back into downward facing dog with the chair. Good. So we're working on our spine length here, right? So how about everybody bends their knees? Good. And when you bend your knees, could you untuck the tail? So that's like when we were making a space between our low back and the floor, all right? So our belly kind of moves toward the thighs more as the tail reaches up toward the ceiling. And you may need to bend your knees more or less depending on how flexible your hamstrings are. And then really holding onto the chair, can you reach those hips up and back like you're trying to reach where the ceiling meets the wall behind you? Getting a lot of length. Of course, if you have a shoulder injury, modify as needed. One more breath. And now bending a little bit more. Inhale, just looking toward the seat of the chair. And then exhale, can you step forward with one foot? Doesn't matter which one. Good. And now let's try to lift without too much weight on the hands. Most of the weight is on the leg, the bottom leg. Can you lift the other leg up a bit off the floor? Good. So I could let go of my chair. You don't have to do that, but I'm just trying to demonstrate no weight on the hands, okay? And then landing with both feet next to one another. Let's inhale to stand up, reaching up. Could even touch the hands above you together. And then exhale, arms out to the sides and down. All right, kind of shake it out a little bit. Let's do the same thing again. All right, so inhale, arms up. And exhale, hinging at the hips and fold. Okay, now if you can see me from where you are, pause for a moment just to look at me. Okay, I'm going to show you what I meant in down dog too about untucking and tucking the tail. So you can see me doing it here. I'm going to bend my knees so it's a little easier for me to do it. It's like a cat and cow, right? I'm going to tilt my tail up so I get more of a low back curve. It's really just coming into neutral in this position. and then I'm rounding. So when we're in downward dog, and you can keep looking at me as you move, if it doesn't bother your neck. So when we're in downward dog, I'm going to try to keep that tail up position. So bending the knees can help you do that. And it's like that cow of cat and cow. So stepping back to down dog whenever you're ready to. It doesn't have to be perfect, of course. We're not going for perfect. We're just experimenting and seeing what this feels like in our bodies. And then also noticing your upper body, your shoulders, your spine, the length you can get, and then noticing your breath. Okay, one more breath there. And then inhale, looking forward. Now, I don't know if you can remember which leg you stepped forward with last time, but try to step forward with the opposite leg this time. All right, so we're going to step one leg forward, and then see if you can perhaps lift the other leg off the floor. You might even pause to balance there. You can keep your hands down, but not too much weight. Keep breathing. And then step feet next to one another. And then inhale as you stand. You might even bring your palms to touch for a moment. And exhale, arms out to the sides and down. Good. And then you can step away from your chair with a little swing and twist, letting the arms be relaxed if you can. And look behind you as you do this. Notice where you can see behind you. Trying to loosen everything up along the spine. Good. All right. Now I'm going to come over to the wall now. And if you need to go far away or relocate where you can't see your computer or your screen, feel free to watch me first and then join in or whatever you need to do. Okay. So I'm going to start out I think I'm going to show you with my back to you first. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take my inside leg forward and my outside leg back. And it's like a warrior two stance, but it's not important that the legs are perfect or anything. They're just holding you up, okay? And my inside leg hip is close to the wall. It could even be touching, but that might be too close. You have to see for your body, okay? My inside arm is going to reach forward with the palm against it and the arm straight. Okay. Now, I'm going to inhale and start to make a big circle, turning my chest, circle with the arm, I mean, palm staying on the wall. I'm going to turn my chest toward the wall. So now the arm is reaching behind me and I'm looking at it. You don't have to look at it if it hurts the neck. And then I'm going to bring it back to the start and my chest goes back to the start as well. And I'm just going to repeat that 2 more times. So as I turn to face the wall, my chest turns toward it as well. And then I circle back. Good, 1 more time. This time we're going to stay there. Now, it does not need to be straight back at shoulder height. It might be up like at 10 o'clock. You know, you can decide where you want it. It also doesn't have to be straight. What I'm going to slowly start to do is my chest is facing the wall now. I'm going to move first this shoulder of the arm I'm moving down my back. So I'm just rolling it down my back. Okay. Then pressing my hand into the wall, I'm going to slowly start to turn my chest away from the wall. And breathing slowly as well. Okay, so that shoulder that I'm working, I'm rolling that shoulder blade down my back. I'm pressing my hand into the wall. I'm breathing, and I want to make sure this is just the right amount of intensity or stretch for you. You're not overdoing it. You're not getting any pinching. Let's take a few more breaths there. Can always change the angle or bend or straighten the arm. 2 more breaths. And one more. Good. Now let's turn the chest back toward the wall. And then bring the arm up and around to the start. Release it. Let's step away from the wall for a moment. Before we do the other side, you can have your eyes open or closed and just notice how both sides feel. Breathing in and breathing out. And again. Okay, second side. So you're going to turn around. Remember, the inside leg is forward and the inside leg is close to the wall. Mine, I actually have my foot against the wall. Inside arm comes forward, palm touching. I'm going to just start with 3 rounds of a round and a half circle. So I'm going to bring that arm up toward the ceiling, turning my chest toward the wall, reaching the arm back behind me any amount, and then come back around. 2 more. Keep breathing. Now this last time you could stay there, okay? Remember, the arm could come up to 1 o'clock or 2 if it feels better. It could stay back at 3 o'clock. I like to grab, like now I have a little bit of trim. I can grab on this door. I like to do that with my hand. I'm also going to first move my shoulder blade down my back, right, away from my ear, and then slowly start to turn my chest away from the wall as I press my hand into it or kind of pull on whatever I'm holding. Okay, a couple more breaths, noticing how it feels on this side. Arm can be bent or straight. Big, wide inhales, long exhales, stretching out the front of the shoulder, the pecs here to help with any upper back tension. It helps with neck tension as well. Good. Now to come out of this, I'm going to turn back toward the wall with my chest and head, and then bring that arm up and around and back down. Good. And then just step and stand, noticing the 2 sides, following your breath in and out. All right. This next one is also going to be against the wall, and you're going to be facing the wall. So if you need to watch me first, you can do that, okay? We've done it before, but you may or may not have been here that day. So what I'm going to do is I'll be placing the forearms on the wall, but it's like a karate chop hand. So the pinky edges are there. My elbows are just slightly above my shoulders, okay? And the first thing I'm going to do is imagine I've got a $100 bill underneath my elbow and I'm really trying to hold it there. So I'm going to press into the wall, right? So protract the shoulder blades. I'm going to soften my knees so they're bending a bit. I'm going to relax the neck. Good. So that's the first stance. Okay, now the second piece is going to be tucking my tail under like we would do in a forearm plank. So I'm tucking my tail under, pubic bone comes forward, and I'm already tired. I'm pressing my elbows in, holding that $100 bill there. And then the next thing I'm going to do is draw my ribs back. So I'm even rounding through the upper back a little bit. So I'm drawing my ribs toward the center of the room, away from the wall. I'm pressing into my $100 bill. I'm tucking my tail. I'm breathing. And then I'm going to release and take a break. Okay, so you may have already done one as you were listening to me, or you might not have started. I'm going to do another round. Let's see. Here we go. That warmed me right up. Okay, so now forearms on the wall, right? A little higher than shoulders. Pinky edges on the wall. Press into the wall, protracting the shoulder blades. Soften the knees. Tuck the tail. Okay, tighten through your abdominal muscles. $100 bill below the elbows. I'm already getting tired. Okay, working those arms and the shoulder area. And now I'm going to draw the ribs toward the center of the room. So I'm drawing them in, but still breathing. It's kind of like a forearm plank on the wall in a way, but really working the shoulder muscles. 2 more breaths if you can, keeping that $100 bill there. Good, and release. Arms come down. You might want to shake them out a little bit or a lot. Good. You're going to grab your strap, and you can just hold it in one hand. You're going to step right leg forward and left leg back into a warrior one stance. Okay, and I've just got the strap dangling for now while I organize my feet. So feet are going to be hips distance. And if you take your hands to your hips here and square the hips. So my right hip moves back a little bit, usually, because usually people have their right hip too more forward. So to square, move the right hip back a little bit. Okay, good. Knee can be bent any amount. You might even play around with, for a moment, cat and cow with the pelvis area. So you notice when I'm doing this, my back knee is bending and straightening to allow me to do it. When I tuck my tail under, my back knee bends. When I untuck, it straightens. Okay, and for this, for us today, let's just be curious about how each position feels. There's no right or wrong. It just depends on what you're trying to do. I'm going to take mine into the middle place for me, kind of in between the two. And now we're going to hold the strap like we did for that last time we did the strap. Okay, so it's between the arms. The shoulder heads are rolling back. If you need to straighten the leg at any time, you can. And I feel like I'm trying to pull apart the strap. What the sensation we're looking for is not neck tension, but instead an opening up across the chest. Let's take a couple more breaths there. You can decide where it feels best to look with your neck. One more breath. Good, and release. You can step forward. You can set your strap down. I'm going to shake it out a little bit, and then we're going to step into left leg forward, right leg back, no strap this time, okay? Just set up your warrior one. I'm going to do something different with the arms this time. Okay, so first I'm trying to square the hips, and so usually that means moving the left hip back a little bit, as if you had a flashlight on each hip, and they were shining straight forward, right? Straight forward. All right. Now from here, you can experiment with that cat and cow a little bit. Just noticing how your pelvis can move in this position. Okay, and then you can keep it however you'd like, okay? No right or wrong, see what feels better. Okay, I'm going to choose neutral. Okay, now from here, this time we're going to inhale and open the arms to the sides. And then let's exhale, cross right arm on top of left. You can give yourself a big hug, or you can choose eagle arms if you prefer. Okay, and we're going to keep moving. So we're going to inhale, open. You can take them as far back as you want, and exhale, left on top of right, either hug or eagle arms. Okay, let's do a few more. Good, arms can come down after you've done both sides a couple of times, and then whenever you're ready, can step out of that. Let's roll out the ankles. We're going to trace the outer perimeter of one of your feet. You can look at it if you'd like, just noticing. And then reverse directions. Good. And then before you go to the second side, let's just stand in Tadasana and notice. Okay, now let's do the second side. And reverse directions. Good, and stand. All right, and let's just do some heel raises. Inhale up, exhale down. You can add in either a toe lift or rocking back on the heels. You can also have your chair in front of you if you'd like to hold on to something. Okay, we're gonna grab our strap one more time. Again, it can be a towel too. And this time, I'm gonna take, let's see, your right arm. I'm gonna do my right arm. It might look opposite to you. I'm gonna take my right arm up by my ear, or as best as you can, and then bend it. Whoops. No, you need the strap in that arm. So what you can do is take the strap in the hand, just don't smack yourself, in that arm, and bring it up and around. Okay. Now, of course, if you have an injury, you're going to modify, right? And then with the other arm, I'm going to bring it behind the back so I internally rotate the shoulder to get it back there. And I'm just going to reach up. And so depending on how mobile you are in your shoulders and what kind of injuries you are, some people might even be able to link hands back there, or you just might walk the hands closer together. You're not trying to make it too intense, okay? What I'm doing, even though I can link hands on this side, I'm going to hold the strap anyway, and then I'm going to pull the strap apart. So it's like I'm pulling down with the bottom arm, I'm pulling up with the top arm, and I'm bringing my head back in alignment. So I'm watching out for this. I'm trying not to get my head forward. I'm just bringing it back. Let's take 2 more breaths. And 1. And then gently release, let the arms shake out. And we'll take the strap in the other arm when you're ready, okay? And inhale, take it up by your ear, and exhale, bend at the elbow. Now with the other arm, I'm gonna internally rotate the arm, reach it up behind, high up as you can go without pain, of course, and then find where it feels best for you. And you don't want this to be super intense, okay? Just enough stretch where you can just breathe calmly. And then I am going to work on pulling them apart. I have to go lighter on this side. So my hands are further apart on this side because I don't want it to pull too tightly on the front of my right shoulder. So I'm getting just enough. Bringing my head back toward my back wrist. Good, 1 more breath. And release. And just kind of shake it out a little bit. You can drop your strap. And let's hula hoop the hips around. You're just going to take the feet about shoulders distance. The knees can be soft, going round and round here. And then reverse direction. And then come back to the center, keeping feet as they are. Let's side bend. And as I side bend, I'm also shifting my hips a little bit to the side. Just noticing how much feels okay on your back. All right, and we're going to come down toward the floor now. So you can either do a bear get down where you bend the knees, place your hands down and walk forward, or you can use your chair. we're going to use our chair in this last piece so you can keep it right where it was. I'm also going to get some head and neck support for myself. Okay. I'm going to put the heels on the chair. If you need padding, you can. So the heels are kind of pressing down. They're not, so my calves are not on the chair, in other words, just my ankles. And I'm going to inhale, right leg goes up toward the ceiling. And then exhale, I'm going to cross my right ankle over my left thigh, figure 4. Okay. And gently press. I actually like to push my foot into the chair. So I've pushed mine against the wall so it won't slide. Okay. And then I'm going to push my right knee away with my right hand. If this is not giving you any stretch in your right hip, your right glute area, then you can also lift that left foot off the chair and clasp behind it with both hands, still using your right elbow to push the knee out to the side. Okay. And to give yourself enough head and neck support so you can relax. Let's take a few breaths. I like to rock gently side to side as I do this. Then coming back to the center, you can uncross the legs and inhale, reach the left leg up. Exhale, cross the left ankle. Then gently pressing the left knee out to the side. Can stay right here if you're getting a good stretch here. Can also clasp behind that right leg, using your left elbow to open up the knee. And breathe, softening through the jaw. And then when you're ready, releasing. And you can put your legs over your chair. I'm just going to get my calves on the chair and stick my feet through the little hole in the back of the chair. You can turn the chair. If this doesn't feel good to you, feel free to take another position. You might even want to hug your knees first. Good. And then let's inhale and take the arms up toward the ceiling for a moment with the palms facing each other. And then exhale, just give yourself a hug here. Wrapping the arms around. Notice which arm is on top. Take a breath there. And then let's inhale, arms up toward the ceiling again. And exhale, across the other arm on top for a hug. And then inhale, arms up toward the ceiling. And exhale, letting the arms release down to the floor or onto your body, whatever feels best to you. And if you want to, you could take a sigh. Or 2. Let's move the shoulder blades down your back. Manually, get them there. Let the inner thighs relax if you can. Just get a sense for how your whole body feels right now. Noticing, what movements or poses might have been really needed for you today. Noticing how your body responded, if there was anything that you needed to back off from, or anything that you learned about your body today. And just letting your breath go, noticing how your mind is feeling. And feeling or encouraging yourself to really let go to gravity here. Just feel your breath happening without having to control it.